Hello there. This is just a very quick video to explain how to use or wire up your Sound Leisure jukebox. Now this specific model is a Sound Leisure mini juke made, I think, approximately in the mid 1990s by a company in Leeds, England called Sound Leisure. They're still in business today, still making jukeboxes, and this one is quite a basic wall box, which is still working fine today. It's had a new laser fitted, so I guess it wasn't working that well, but it's had a brand new laser fitted, and it runs off a Philips CDM12 laser. So it's still available. You can still get the lasers quite easily for that. It looks like it was originally serviced by Sound Sense Electronics, who unfortunately are now gone. Anyone in the know will probably remember Dougie, who used to service a lot of the CD players for the jukebox community and operators. Unfortunately, he has retired, which has made a lot of people's jobs harder, but that's by the by. Anyway, so where were we? We have a Sound Leisure mini juke here. Let's just say you've just bought this, you can't get any sound out of it. One of the main problems with these jukeboxes is people don't know how on earth to work them. They are pretty simple, but there's no real videos on the internet on how to wire them up, how they work, etc. So very quickly, as quick as I can anyway, this is the inside. We have a CD player at the top, which is this great big white box. It has the mechanism in there which lifts the CDs off the rack and puts them onto the CDM12 player here, which plays the CD. In case you've never seen one before, this is what the inside of a CD player looks like. It's a laser eye inside there, and it just spins around and plays. It's very simple, or very complicated device, but it looks very simple. So in the box we have an amplifier over the left hand side, so try not to fiddle with the knobs on that unless you know what they do. There's usually an input gain on there, which I think we're using the middle channel here. So these three pots here, I think the first one is the input gain, which means how loud the signal comes into the amplifier. Then you have the bass and treble connections here. I think that's what they do. Haven't double checked, but I usually just fiddle with them. Probably not the best thing to do, but as long as you don't fiddle with anything you shouldn't do, it should be okay, which hopefully you won't. Anyway, we have the main circuit board here, and that's about it really. Back of the door, we have a coin mechanism at the top. We have a button bank here at the bottom, and then we have the LED digital display which shows you what track you've picked. Anyway, back to where we were. So you want to connect some speakers. That's what you wanted to come to 3 minutes ago, and we're still not here yet, but we need to know what the jukebox does, where the bits are, so you know where to connect the speakers to. So let's move down to this little sound interface board here. Now I've put this in temporarily, so just pretend that's not there for a second. The sound interface board has two channels, a left channel here, channel 1, with 1, 2, 3, 4 inputs, or outputs actually, sorry, because you plug your speakers into that, so it's an output of sound. On the right hand side you have channel 2, which has again 4 connections there to plug your speakers into. So what I've done, I've used some, it's actually volume control cable, so it's not very thick, so I've doubled up these wires just to plug in temporarily a speaker so we can test the output sound on this jukebox. So this is the sound interface board. Like I said, you have, let me get a bit closer and try and get this in focus. You have 3 screw heads in each one of these connections. Ignore the one in the center, that doesn't have a connection to it. You need to use the left hand side one and the right hand side one. So here I've put 1 wire in the left. I know it's 2, but just pretend it's 1. It's only 2 because I've doubled the wire together to make it a bit thicker. So you put 1 wire in the left, 1 wire in the right. I've then taken this wire all the way down here, over here, and as you can see, plugged it into the back of this test speaker here. So that will now give us our speaker connection to the jukebox. If you now played a song, it probably wouldn't give you any sound. That's because down here, Sound Leisure requires you to have a volume control plugged into it. Now, sometimes these boxes don't come with volume controls, or people remove them before sale, or when you get them out of a pub, the volume control stays in the pub and you get the jukebox back. Without that volume control connected, the jukebox will never play sound. So a lot of people think that it's damaged or broken. What you need to do is plug your jukebox volume control into here. There's 4 connections here, A1, A2, A3, A4. I'll quickly explain what they do. A1, the blue one I have in this case, is the left-hand channel sound. The A2, the red one, is the right channel sound. Connection 3, green is common, and connection 4, the yellow, is the reject button. So on your volume control, you would normally have 2 up and down buttons. That's the left and right channel. And then you would have a push button, which would then reject the CD. So if you imagine that I've got a volume control in my hand and I've just pressed the reject button to reject the CD that I don't want anymore, what that's done behind the scenes is just created continuity. In other words, connected together pins 3 and 4 in here. Pins 3 and 4 connected together is cancelled the CD. Simple as that. Volume control wise, I'm going to try and make this as easy to understand as possible. You need to have a variable resistor or pot between the common channel and the left channel, and then also the common channel and the right channel. Now what that means is, if you want volume control for the left hand side, you need to connect something between number 1 and number 3. Now we would usually use a resistor, like a pot like this actually, which I'll show you again in a minute. This is a resistor pot here, and you would normally connect 1 wire to one side of this and 1 wire to the center. Now that will give us volume. What I've done to make this a bit easier, I've just used 1 volume control, which is just this little temporary pot here. I've connected the left and right channels together. So I've connected 1 and 2, I've just wound them together and I've put them on the center pin. And then the third one, the common, I've just put on this edge pin here. So that should now give us a working volume control. If you just want to test the jukebox is working, you don't have a volume control, you can do that. What you can do is you can get a piece of cable, piece of wire, and simply connect pin 3, which is the common, to pin 2. That will then give you the right hand side volume control channel full volume. If you do the same thing and you connect pin 3 to pin 1 as well, then that will give you the left hand side channel at full volume. Don't really want to do that, of course, because that means then that when you play CD it will come out full volume all the time. But you can alter that by, over here on the amplifier, this one here I believe is the input signal. So if you were to turn that down, you could in fact then do without a Sound Leisure volume control, and you could connect it over here at full volume, and then over here you could just alter the input volume into the amplifier. But it would mean that every time you wanted to turn up your CD, you'd have to open the jukebox and manually adjust the amplifier, which is probably not the best way. Anyway, so we've got a temporary volume control here. What we're going to do now is very quickly just select the CD. So bear with me. I've picked the top one so you can hopefully see the way the mechanism works. It's very quite nice actually. It's snazzy. I don't think Sound Leisure used this one very long. I don't know why. Maybe it didn't work very well. Anyway, there's your CD now spinning up. That's what it looks like inside your CD player. And you would normally now have sound if the volume was turned up. So let's just try what happens here. Twist this up. There we go. So we've now got, turn it back down. We've now got volume. So that's the CD player in operation. That's how it works. That's how you connect stuff together. Probably best not to mess with things really inside any jukebox or any electrical equipment you don't understand. But if you have received one on eBay, or you don't have the parts, or you're desperate for some help and you can't find them anywhere, the easiest thing to do is to go on to, well, is to just try yourself, but just be very, very careful you don't touch anything you shouldn't do. The only way to do that is to disconnect the power. So pull the power plug out of the wall, and then it will make it easier to not electrocute yourself. You shouldn't really get any sort of electrical shock from connecting these, but it is not advised to connect anything on any electrical item without unplugging it first. So there you go. You have got now 4 wires wired up. You've got the volume control here. We're playing Shaggy, It Wasn't Me. I wasn't really expecting that because it's a country and western CD, so I don't know if our American friends have decided that this is our version of country. Maybe they have. It's not, by the way, in case you're listening in America. It's just a bit of normal chart, everyday pop music from the 90s. Anyway, there you go. That is a Sound Leisure Mini Juke. Hope you've managed to get yours working. If it isn't working, if you enjoyed this video, this is my first. So I hope it's not been too boring and it's been informative, you've understood. But do me a favour, I need to get some likes and shares. So please help. If you do click like and you do click share, it helps me. And I can provide more informative, hopefully informative videos for you. So yeah, please leave me a comment. Nice ones would be great. Negative ones I will try and help with if I've got anything wrong, which I probably have. There we go. Bye.